Hello, everybody. I hope that you are well and you are enjoying your Sunday. Welcome over to Transport Evolved Take 2, where we are doing a live stream so you can see how all the sausage gets made. For those who don't know, we occasionally do these live streams on Take 2. They are the streams that we don't do on our main channel because our main channel tends to be, a little bit more, what's the word? All of the stuff that we put on our main channel, we try and make a little bit more polished. But over here on Take 2, we talk about some of the things that go into making that, as well as putting longer form versions of our videos. And we're kind of a bit confused as to how we want to do that. So if you are joining us over on Take 2, hello. If you've just discovered us from the main channel, hello. We've been having some real issues with YouTube in the last week. In fact, in the last month, YouTube has basically stopped recommending our videos, and we have no idea why. So hopefully also in doing this, you get to see why we do what we do and how we do it. Feel free to join in the private chat. If you are watching this live, you should be able to just hit the bell and say hello, and that should be a great way of interacting with us. I unfortunately have headphones on, and the reason I have headphones on is because what we are going to be working on right now is content that is not something that we can share yet, but we're allowed to say we're doing it. We're allowed to say we've done the trip, but we're not allowed to share our impressions. Does that make sense? So the audio that's in my headphones is stuff that you're not allowed to hear yet because it's embargoed. Does that make sense? I think. Hello, Nikki, speaking from work. Aptera updates. Bye. I haven't had a chance to check on the Aptera updates yet, but hopefully we will. Bonjour from Quebec. Nice to see you this afternoon. Oh, screen content, secret content. Except it's not secret content. Please don't tell people it's secret content. It's stuff that I can't share with you. Does that make sense? So here we go. Here's our library structure here. So the other day, the wonderful Kate Walton Elliott was off in California, and she was doing a first drive of the 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5. So she's done that. It's not gonna happen yet. It's coming soon. We can say we went on it, but we can't share our driving. Does that make sense? So the driving impressions bit of it is not due until, I think, end of the week. And we can go, this is what we thought of this car. And so I can talk about it, but I can't share with you what we did. So here, what you're seeing here is basically the other car we went to see was the Porsche Taycan GTS. We also Winter went and drove that as well. So I want to show you some of the stuff that goes on in the background here. So ignore these here. But all of these files here that you'll see, these are all raw files from the various cameras that we take when we go on an event. And above that, we've got the Hyundai supplied B-roll, which we don't have yet. We'll get that in a second. But these are all of the video files. If I just randomly click on one, these are all of the video files from the actual drive event. And so we have to make these look a particular way. We have to make sure that they're all lined up and that everything is synced. This is an in-car shot, and we have to make sure that's all really good. And what I do is I use a special program, a special terminal program, which I'll share with you. And again, thanks for joining us over on Take 2. I'm really glad we've got so many people joining us on Take 2. Oh, is this streaming on the main channel as well? I do apologize if you're watching this on the live channel. Okay, I'm accidentally streaming it on both channels. I apologize. So we may switch over. If you're watching this on Transport Evolved Take 2, great, you get to stick around. If you're watching this on the main channel, then come join us over on Transport Evolved Take 2. If you want to do a super chat, there's also time. So we use a lot of different equipment when we're recording. One of these things we use a lot of are these little babies here. These is a GoPro Hero 9. We have 4 of them, and we have 2 GoPro 8s, and we have a GoPro 360. We have 2 GoPro 5s, and then Kate has an SJ cam, and a couple of team members have their own personal GoPros as well. And so between all of those cameras, we bring them all to events and we record everything that's going on. And then we use these little things. See if I can find the one that's out of its bag. It's over here somewhere. We use a recorder, which we call, these are the Zoom F2s. That's what they're called. They're really fantastic little recorders. See if I can get this up and close and personal. This is one of our Zoom F2s. They're really great. They're basically 32-bit raw audio recorders. They're really great. And we pair that with a microphone. And we go off and we do our car review or a first drive report, or we also use these for Sunday musings, although today's Sunday musing, which is going to be going live shortly, uses a slightly different setup to that. So we've got what we call our fuzzy weasels, which are these windshields, and then we have our naked weasels, which are the ones that don't have any fuzz on them. So we have that's not what they're really called, but that's what we call them in the team, a naked weasel and a fuzzy weasel. And the fuzzy weasel is what you use when it's outside and it's windy. And the other one is what you use when it is not windy. Now, the audio that we got from Kate, as you can see here on the left, we've got, let me see if I can make this a bit bigger so you can see. These dump files here, we've got the in-car review, all of these different clips that I've created. And I did that yesterday. We've got all the B-roll. It's all labeled so that when Michael brings it into the camera, he knows. And we've got the Canon, all the video files from the Canon camera with Kate hanging out the window, apparently. Well, she had some lovely weather, but it was very windy. And so that her tripod was moving around quite a lot. So we're going to have a lot of post-processing to do. So the audio files that we use, they just get dumped on a memory card and we transfer them over. And the one I need to work on right now is called this one here. And we're going to open it with a program called RX9, which is this program we remarkably have in the background. Now, you're going to have to take my word for this because I can't actually share with you the audio because that would give the game away and we'd be breaking embargo. But I can show you a picture of the audio. So what we're going to do is we're going to normalize it. I'm going to drag these little controls over here so you can see what's going on. These are all the controls that we use. And I'll tuck them away so that you can see what the audio looks like. The first thing we do is we normalize it. So basically what normalizing does is it takes the audio file and it makes sure that the loudest thing in the audio file is at 0 decibels, which is what is right here, or in this case, minus 0.2 decibels. And then once I've normalized it, you probably can't see it. Well, let's zoom in a bit. You'll see this section here. This is the bit where you can see Kate speaking where it's louder. But then you've got this bit, which is basically the background noise of the car. So to make it nicer to listen to, we use a program or a plugin within this suite called Dialogue Isolate, and we're going to tell it to increase intelligibility but not to actually get rid of all of the background noise. I mean, we could actually separate the dialogue completely so you don't hear any background noise, but then she'd sound a little bit like a robot. So we're going to do increase intelligibility, and I'm going to just tell it to render. And in the background there, in fact right here in this window, we'll just leave that up there so you can see it as it's going along. That tells me how long it's going to take for that audio to process. So, ciao. Come stai? Lorenzo Ventura. My Italian is terrible, but I can say senza ammazzarsi, because that was actually a piece of instruction in a piece of music I once played, and it literally means without killing oneself, as far as I'm aware. But my Italian is very, very rusty. I used to share a flatmate I had a flatmate whose name, he had his name, and then after that it would be Con fuoco ebria toccata prima senza ammazzarsi, which is just a musical joke because he was an organist, and that was pretty cool. Any news from GM on the battery fixes? So in case you haven't seen, and this is something else that, you know, it's pretty frustrating for us, to be honest. So my car is going to get a fix. The battery is on order. It's going to arrive in the next week, hopefully. My car is obviously getting its deer damage fixed. As I am aware, everything has been repaired save for the bonnet, the hood. We're still waiting for a hood, and when that arrives, the car will be sprayed and cleaned up, and it'll be ready to go. And then it's going to go down to the local Chevrolet dealership, and they're going to put the new battery in it, and they should, fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything else crossed, get it back just in time for our trip to CES, which is kind of essential because we have winter tires on that car, and it also has a tow hitch on it, and we need it to transport all of our gear to CES. I mean, if you look behind me, on the desk behind me right now is all of the camera gear that Winter brought back from, well, in fact, not all of the camera gear, all of the Transport Evolved gear back from our road trip to, or his road trip, or his flight to review the Porsche Taycan. He brought, he took one of his own cameras, and then he took 3 GoPro 9s, a GoPro 8, and a GoPro 360. So all of those cameras had to go in his bags and on the plane, which is kind of it's not easy, you know. It was a lot of stuff to do that, but yes. So where was I with the statement? Oh yeah, so the bolt is getting fixed. My wife's bolt has not been given a date yet for a battery replacement. We haven't had a contact from Chevy saying that you can have the battery replacement, but GM has reached out with an offer, a buyback offer for her car. Now, she didn't buy it brand new. She bought it used, whereas I got mine brand new. So they're fixing my car and giving it a new battery. They've given her a buyback offer, and we're right on the fence. I'm not going to lie. The bolt could go to, we could get it, you know, get the battery replaced and just hang on to it until the battery is replaced and then continue to drive it. Or she is considering the buyback offer. Now, we only have like 72 hours from the point they give us the car, give us the letter to say whether we want to accept the offer or not. And we've sent back some questions about when that has to be done, because people are going to be away for the holidays, and it's going to be difficult for us to actually facilitate transferring everything over at that point. But I think we are leaning towards getting her car repurchased or a buyback, because the offer we were given was pretty good, because we're in Oregon, and the money that we'd get out of it would be used as a deposit for the Ford Mustang Mach-E that we still have a reservation for. We haven't cancelled that reservation, so we held on to it. And if the Mustang, which is due to be made next week, gets made, we actually may go for the Mustang, despite a couple of weeks ago going, maybe we're just going to keep the Bolt. The heaters started to play up in my wife's car, so we want to make sure that everything is good before we do that. Obviously, we have to fix any problems before we hand it back, but it's been behaving itself the last week or so we'll see. All right, so this audio is still doing its thing in the background. So let me show you one of the other things that I have to do. And it's kind of boring, but it's essential to make sure that everything gets done in an appropriate and sensible way. So if we look at this, I mean, just to give you an idea of how big, this is 735 gigabytes of video files from Winter's report. And the embargo on that lifts in the middle of the week. So we've already done some of the kind of combinations of videos. But now we need to go and FFmpeg is a really cool program that allows you to take multiple video files. It's like a video toolkit, basically. It's a command line program, and it allows you to do all kinds of cool things with your video files. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to find, if you forgive me, I'm just going to open this up, and I need to find where we've got to in the B-roll. And what we're going to do is we're going to find all the files that are essentially in the same take and connect them together, because GoPros only record, most cameras in fact, only record video files in chunks. So this is a chunk of video file, right? This is a chunk of video file, and we have to take that video file and find all the other video files that have the same angle, and we're going to connect them all together. So this one, let me see what number this is. Okay, so this is the one we're looking at. So halfway through this, Winter changes camera angle. So I need to, what's that name of that file there? 20303030. Find the other one. The next one on that list is that one. I have to find this one. Find that one, change the number, because it's all sequentially connected. And I'm basically going to concatenate all of those files together. Beautiful, beautiful car. It really is. Really is. And I wish I could share with you the audio and the review, but I can't, because it's embargoed. So I can't explain anything. I mean, we're good, you know, we're good right now with this angle, because all right, so he changes it in this point to there. So all right, and Winter's making it a bit harder for me. I will tease him about that later. So I've made this special instruction file, and it just lists all of the files that I want to join together. And then I'm going to go to my terminal window, and I'm going to cheat, because I did this last night. I'm going to bring this one up here. This is just my temp one. So I'm going to go ffmpeg yf concat I, and then I have to tell it the name of the file that includes all of the instructions, so it knows how to bloop. Shortcuts are the best. And then what's the rest of the command? It's going to be -c copy map 0 to 0, map 0 to 1, map 0 to 3. And then the output file, which is called, let's find the output file. What am I going to call it? I'm going to call it B-roll. All right. And then I'm going to give it a / name. So it's going to be 2022 Porsche Taycan BTS rear quarter facing forward MP4. Make sure I follow some syntax there, and that, oh, I've done something wrong. I've got a syntax error. What have I done? Let's have a look. Invalid data found. when processing the input. Huh. What did I do that was wrong? Let's find out. Just want to make sure that that is the right file. Excuse me. All right. What did I do with the... It will give me the same error, which is fine. What is the error? Syntax errors are always my least favorite. If you want to ask a question and you want to do talk to me, feel free in the chat room. I can actually hear you, even though I'm concentrating in a different window. And if you look behind, this thing is nearly completed. In fact, I think it might be now. So did you see a second ago? I can switch between these so you can see. So keep your eyes on this little portion here. I mean, see where that dotted line is, and you see this bit here? Keep your eyes on that, because this will change. So this is what it looked like before. You see that, how large it is, how loud it is. So in audio files, the taller the waves, the louder the volume. When I run a dialogue isolate on it, it actually gets rid of a lot of that background noise. Now, unfortunately, I have to play this on the back. I have to listen to this in my headphones because there were some issues with the previous version of this. I want to make sure that's turned off. It is. I had managed to erase some of Kate's talking. So I wanted to make sure that the audio for this is actually correct. So, a sec. I think it works. I think it works. Let's find out. I think that is cool. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to run my compressor. I'm wondering if the compressor was the problem. I wonder. I'm actually going to renormalize it because I wonder if that's part of the problem. Yeah. Run it to there. I'm going to compress it just a little bit more. And hopefully it will pick up everything that Kate's talking about. So the compressor just basically squishes the loud bits down and brings the bottom bits up. And now it sounds pretty good. Someone was asking, all right, I'm just going to run a plugin in the background. I'm going to run what's called the Loudness Control, which basically prepares it for streaming. There's actually a special setting for Netflix or streaming, video streaming delivery. There you go. And it's basically going to take all the volume and squish it even more. That's what loudness does. All right, so no lightning reservation going for Mustang Mach-E. No, that's not true. We're actually going to reserve both. And I feel like I kind of I owe you guys a bit of an explanation about that. So my wife has a different job. She has her own job, and she brings in, you know, her income for her side of the relationship, and I have Transport Evolved, and I bring in my income from my side of the relationship. The Lightning is a Transport Evolved purchase. It's a purchase that we will make as a personal purchase, but it will be owned by myself. I am the owner, CEO of the company, whatever you want to call me, and so therefore it will be owned by the company or by the director or whatever you want to call it. I will use it as my personal vehicle, but for most of the time, I'll be using it for Transport Evolved business. So carrying cases. I mean, if you imagine when we go to CES, we're taking, see if I can figure this out in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're taking 6 cameras, like regular cameras. We're taking 10 GoPros. We're taking microphones, microphone boom poles. We're taking this computer, another couple of computers like it for editing on location. We might take the mixing desk. I haven't decided yet. So we're taking a lot of stuff and packing that all into a car becomes really impractical on a long distance trip. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this behind the scenes video here is to let you know how much kind of processing goes into making a video, like the video we do every year for CES. And it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy, and we have to be very careful to make sure that what we do is uh, is smart financially, but also that what we do is going to get the best impact for you guys. And so we have a lot of gear. I mean, when we travel to CES, normally we have my trailer on the back of my car with 2 flight cases in it, computers in my car, all the camera gear. The last time we did CES, it was Kate, Walton Elliott, myself, and Erin, all in my car. We had to have a roof box on with all the stuff on the roof, as well as in the trunk, as well as in the trailer. This year for CES, we're actually going to take 2 cars. We've got expanded to the point that we cannot get everything in one car. So we're taking 1, 2, 3. Oh, thank you very much, Joey. You're a gent. Thank you. Thank you very much. I assume you're a gent. I shouldn't have assumed your gender. I'm sorry. Thank you. We are going to be taking 3 Pelican flight cases from the company, and then another 2 Pelican cases from other team members who've opted to bring their own gear. We're bringing all the light stands and everything else, the lights, the audio gear, the boom pole, it's a long list. Okay. And so this year we're taking 2 vehicles. Next time we'll take the F-150 because you can get all of the production equipment in the back. We can buy a lockable truck bed for it, and we can get 5 people in it. So we don't necessarily have to put all the gear in one machine. So thank you very much, Joey. You are indeed a gent. Thank you. Hi from India, says GM. Hello. It is late in the evening for you. Nearly bedtime on a Sunday evening. It's going to make great contents for Transport Evolved. It is. Although I'm not going to lie to you. By the way, you just saw that in the background. I don't know if you saw that pop up. This is why I did that. So you see, this is what it looks like before you run the loudness control, and then afterwards, boom. And I'm going to export this file. So give me a second. We're going to export it as a 32-bit AIFF file. And then we're going to go into Hyundai Ioniq 5 fixed audio. And that's going to be drive 1F. We're going to replace that file. And now if I go into DaVinci Resolve, we go into first drive reports. You can't see this because it's on the wrong screen. Just give me a second. Takes a sip of tea, or in fact it's coffee in my case. And then I go to drive, and then I go here, open in timeline, which you won't be able to see separate, unfortunately. Give me a second. It's going to sit there and open. And when it does, I will then switch over so you can see the other window. Let's see if I can do this. Separate window, share screen, share screen 2. Actually, share screen 1. We're going to share screen 1, and for a second, you're going to see all of the things. There you go. So this is all of the multi-clip of all the things that Kate's doing. And it looks like we do have still some issues here with this audio file. So I'm going to have to do some more digging. Why is it doing this? I wonder. So for some reason, there is a problem with the audio file here. So what's the timestamp for 44:35? Okay, so it's a fair bit in. Let's see what happens if I open this file. And again, I can't share this with you because it's embargoed. So I'm afraid I'm listening to it, but you can't hear it, which is a shame. Let me see what this says here. Ah, okay. Now I know what's happening. Cool. It was a problem on my end. It wasn't that necessarily that things weren't working. It was just that the audio files were out of sync. So this is the program we use. And I can actually show you one of the other things that we've been working on behind the scenes here. Project Manager. We've been doing a lot. We've just changed over to using DaVinci as well as our editing program of choice. So forgive us. So how exactly does the embargo from companies work? So we're not allowed to share anything that we're not allowed to share anything. We're not allowed to share anything that we are. So let me start again. We get invited on a press report, a press junket. So we go to somewhere and we'll drive the car and we'll find out what we think about it, and they will invite journalists on different waves. So we were on wave 2 for the Hyundai, and I think we're on wave 2 for the Porsche. And we get to drive it. We get to talk about it in front of a camera. Sometimes we get to interview people. And then after that, we are not allowed to publish our official thoughts until we're past a particular date. And at a certain date and a certain time, the car company says, okay, you can share what you're thinking about it. So this one is not embargoed. And so I can talk about this. This is the this video that you're watching right now is the Toyota RAV4 Prime, which we filmed back in May. We just haven't had the brain power to export it yet. So this is a video that we've been working on. Let me shuttle through here. You can see all of the audio and video has been kind of matched up. It's not been colored yet, so it probably looks a bit weird. So this is like a 40-minute review of this particular car. And when we get a car, but it normally takes a little bit of time to record and edit. This is all the different, thoughts we've had of the car, and one of the things Michael's going to be doing next week is he's going to be taking the B-roll and making it look pretty over this window. So just bear with me a second. I'm going to stop that screen share, and then I'm going to start the other screen share so that you can see the other window. So if you look over here, these are all the different video. These are all the different B-rolls that we've got that we can share. So some of this one here is one that Michael did, and he showed it of the car with the trunk going up. He did a really nice shot here of going into the trunk. He did one of the sunroof, one of the back seats, and all of that. And then we've got some B-roll that was supplied by Toyota. Where is that? That's probably, oh no, that's probably, don't even see it. Oh, here it is. It's this stuff here. That's what Toyota has provided. Toyota provided B-roll on its website. So we've downloaded that. We'll be using that in our video as well. So to answer your question, how it works is that car companies come along and they go for press launches, come to the press launch, drive the car, and then you're not allowed to talk about it publicly until this day. It's different embargoes are different. Different embargoes are different embargoes from different automakers. So in the case of both Porsche and Hyundai, we've been told we can talk about the fact that we went. So I said in yesterday's show, keep your eyes peeled for Kate's review later this week. Keep your eyes peeled for Winter's review later this week. We can say we've been, but I'm not allowed to tell you what Winter thought, and I'm not allowed to tell you what Kate thought. And that's why I've got my headphones on right now, and I'm listening to this audio in the background and showing you how we modify the audio, because I'm not allowed to talk about this publicly, and nobody else on the team is. But we're allowed to say we went. So seeing a picture of the car is okay as well. We just can't play the actual review. We can't talk about it in that way. Does that make sense? So I can't tell you whether Winter liked it or not. I can't tell you if Kate liked it or not. I can't tell you what they thought and how it compared to all these other cars. I'm just showing you how we go about making all of these video files do their thing. I do have to try and figure out why this is not working, though. Invalid data when found when processing input. So what? I bet it's a syntax error. So just give me a second here. What have I missed? I'm just looking at the syntax error just to try and figure out what it is. Has Americate been kicked from the office now? Americate has her own office. So we recently, our daughter, because our son, both our kids have grown up now. So our son is 19 and he's now living back in the UK. He went back to the UK in the summer. Our daughter, who turned 18 in August, decided to move out, and she's living locally. She doesn't like living in the country, so she decided to go back to town. And that meant that her bedroom was going free, effectively. So Americate, my partner, she has now got her own office over there, where she works, and I have the Transport Evolved studio, or edit suite, we call it. This is where we edit all the videos, we write all the scripts. This is my desk, and just behind me there is where Michael sits. So Michael has his desk as well. It's got a load of stuff on it that I put on there. It's not to do with Michael, that's to do with me dumping cameras on over the weekend. And I'm working this weekend because I'm the boss. And at the end of the day, you know, I have to be the one to step up and do the extra work if we can't do it. Budget's a bit tight at the moment because, how do I put this? Oh, I figured out what the problem was. Budget's really tight at the moment because it's a triple payday month, so we pay everybody every other week. So there are 3 pay periods this month, so that meant that our kind of budget for salary is much bigger this month than it had been in previous months. I haven't paid myself this month, and I probably won't pay myself next month, possibly the month after that. We need to raise ideally another couple of grand for CES to make it more comfortable for everybody, but we can do it now. It's just going to be harder because we're going to have one person less than we'd like to take. That is probably not going to happen unless we can raise some extra pennies, because YouTube has stopped recommending our content, and that means that nobody is watching our content. We've had people leaving Patreon because they are making content, and that is giving us some issues. By the way, I figured out what the syntax error was here. There's a y minus f. There you go. It's now working. It was a syntax problem on my end. Always check your code, people. So what this is now doing is it has just created a new file, which you can see here. This file here will get bigger as I sit here talking to you. There you go, 1.1 gigabytes. And in a minute, it'll say 1.3, and it'll probably be about 1.5, 1.46. So it's reading all those separate files and mushing them together, and that is how we do it. So in terms of the prep work, I'm showing you essentially how we go from getting the stuff off the camera to getting it ready to edit. And I do all the preparation work because it involves some extra coding. I wouldn't ask the rest of the team to do that. So I'm doing that now. I'm going through, I'm figuring out where all the files are, what file what file has to go where, and all of that. And that takes a fair bit of time and energy to do. But once I've done that, then it's easier to edit, because instead of having 1,000,001 different files, you end up with, so if you look at all these files, right, all of these files here are from one camera. You can see scrolling past, and what we are left with, these four files are the resulting files from all of those files, which makes it easier for the computer to work with, makes it easier for me, because humans prefer things in a really simple way. They prefer the naming convention to be a little bit more sensible. I need to replace. I just realized I did the wrong thing. Add text. So find and replace. So we're going to find 2020 and replace with 2022. I realized I named it wrong. The question is, the question was, have we managed to transfer all the templates from 10 over to Resolve? Okay. No. We're still doing 10 in Final Cut Pro, and it's driving me up the wall. We just don't have time to edit it, and it's a real frustration, because I think Resolve is actually going to be better for us in the long run. But 10 is so established; it's kind of our biggest show, and so trying to get that to work is really, it's going to take some time. It really is going to take some time. I also realized that I never really fully answered the question about the F-150 and the Mustang. We're probably going to end up getting both. So my wife, the Mustang will be her car, and then the F-150 will be mine. We've got family in the Midwest, and some of them are not very well at the moment. So the choice of flying versus driving has come up in conversation a lot, and it's actually going to be more environmentally responsible for us to drive in an EV, and driving in the Mustang versus driving in the Bolt is quite a big difference. So there we go. All right, so now this file has finished, which it probably has. Let's show you the terminal here. It's still doing it, still processing right here. You can see the frame number. It's working at 4.83 times. So it's going to take a while, but it'll just sit there and just go through all our video files and make sure that everything looks cool. So we've got 3 videos dropping this week. Yeah, geez, if only you could get some kind of video expert to help with that. Oh, wait. Yeah. So the fun thing with getting Michael on board is he's a very good intuitive editor, but even Michael couldn't do all of this. There's a lot of video that we have to process. Just the 2 reviews that we filmed last week, or the 2 first drives that we filmed last week, it's over 1 terabyte's worth of video. The RAV4 that we're working on, over nearly 1 terabyte. In fact, I can show you all the stuff that we're working on. Kind of sneaky stuff. So we have features. All right, so we've just done the comma. We just did the comma one. We have a ride along with Comma AI that we haven't published yet. We've got a tour of the facility that we haven't published yet. We have the ample, which is all good and done. Then we have this. This is our Tesla autopilot versus Blue Cruise. Again, 0.5 terabyte of video, and we have to go through all of these. Again, you can see if I click on these are all video files from the trip that we made, and we've got to put all of that together. We've got to sort through it all. We've got to figure out where it all goes before we all go off for Christmas. So there's a lot to be done, and I'm just doing batch processing today. Eventually, I hope we can give it all off to everybody. The audio for the final day is going to be a real nightmare. You can see here you've got Kate, Winter, Erin, and Nikki. These are all separate audio recordings. I've got to go through and separate the channels out and nix one person from another person's audio, so it sounds like, so you don't hear the echo from one person in the other person's microphone. And that's a real problem when you've got microphones on people. If I was sitting across the room for you and we both had microphones on, your microphone would pick up my audio with a slight delay, and it would make it sound like an echo, because that's essentially what it would show as on the audio if you played both of them at the same time. So that's a real pain in the butt, and we have to work very hard to fix that. But yeah, this is all the behind the scenes stuff that you don't normally get to see. I apologize for putting this on Transport Evolve main channel. I'll probably delete it from the main channel later. But if you are not already a subscriber to the main channel, to Transport Evolve Take 2, head to youtube.com/Transport Evolved Take 2. I think that link will take you to the right place. So, I mean, we've been having real challenges this week with CES, not just planning everything. We've been having some challenges making sure that we get the content out. But our biggest challenge is YouTube. YouTube has basically stopped recommending our videos. We've been hearing from so many people. There you go. It finished doing that. So I can go back and just make sure I have this in the right place. So YouTube has stopped recommending our videos. I don't know why. Our view count has really dropped, and that means that we've been having issues with YouTube revenue, and it's scary as anything to have, all of this stuff that we do tied up in one or two projects, essentially. So let me just move this out of. Let's move it to here. And you'll find out why I'm doing that in a second. So when Winter was working on acquiring his B-roll, he didn't stop and start, because I didn't tell him to. He didn't stop and start the camera every time he changed positions of the camera. And that can be a bit of a pain in the bum for the editor. So I'm just going to use a program called Compressor here. And I'm going to find the start point where he moves the camera. There we go. So about there, and then about there. And I'm going to use a preset I've called Cleaning Up Brushes. I'm going to give a custom location here. Actually, I'm going to tell it to put it in the same as the source. All right, so we'll do that processing in the background, and it's just going to take out the bits that I told it to clip out, the angles I didn't want from that B-roll rush, so that when Michael is editing it, he can just look at the shot that says 2022 Porsche Taycan GTS rear quarter panel facing forwards .mp4. He can just look at that and he'll know that's the one that I need to use. Thank you, Stephen. You're stoked for CES. Are you going? I don't know if you are or not. It'd be interesting to know. So let's go ahead and do some more of the raw dump fixing here. So this file we've just I just did here. Where was it? That was the last file. It's on the front. Nope. 2 files. That's not a good idea. So 06030 was the last one. And then it looks like we start with 032. Actually, we did that really well. So, cool. So that was the last of the 030s. So then what we have to do is look for 031. Oh yeah, he restarted it at this point. So thank you, Winter. That makes my life easier. 0131. Here we go. Now that looks like it's the front wheels looking back. So front quarter panel looking back. I like that. It's going to be a nice shot. So I have to look and figure out what all these files are called. I hope the prices stay on. Maybe Michael can whittle down the video ingest processor on his metal lathe. Yeah, we need some help. If anybody is watching this who lives in the greater Portland area and who has access to a metal lathe, we would love to hear from you, because Michael needs to make a metal part for his a new piece of camera equipment that he has, and he doesn't have access to a lathe anymore. He doesn't own one because metal lathes are quite expensive. He can make it in literally an hour or two, probably less. But if anybody watching this lives in the Portland area and has access to a metal lathe, please let us know, because that would make our life so much easier. It really would. We wouldn't have to worry about to try and find this custom part that he wants to make somewhere else, which would be honestly a little bit harder to do. So front spoiler looking back, driver side.mp4, and off we go. It's gonna do this thing in the background here. I hope the price stays on par with gas models. I hope it does too. You know what? Gasoline cars are overpriced right now. I hope that they continue to. I hate to say it, but I hope that EV prices fall and gas prices go up, because I think it would get more people behind the wheel of an EV. I've been driving I've been driving a Nissan Leaf for the last couple of weeks while my Bolt is in the shop, and I forgot what an amazing car it really is. It's a really good car. Really missed driving the Leaf. And I think when I got behind the wheel of it a couple of years ago and I drove it then, I think I was being really harsh. I really like. I've got the Leaf Plus right now, the 60 kilowatt hour model, and it's really good. Do we have any access to a 3D printer? Yeah, we do. I have a 3D printer. It can't print metal, and in that case, I think printing a metal part would be, that would be a bit of overkill, because he can literally make it on a lathe. It's not that it's impossible to make anywhere else. It's just that he can make it on a lathe, and it would be very easy for him to do so. We just need to find someone with a lathe. He doesn't even need anybody. He doesn't even need anybody to do it for him. He just needs someone who has access to. He just needs someone with a lathe. Overkill. It would be funny. Yeah. Maybe that's the issue there. So now you know how I do all the audio and how I do all the video and how I ingest it all. It's kind of fun. It can be a really long process. And a lot of this is just batch processing. You see here this terminal window. I'm just using FFmpeg to basically ingest all of the stuff. It arrived. So we use these hard drives, which are not cheap. We use these hard drives, and the hard drives contain, this is a 1 terabyte. No, it's not. It's a 2 terabyte hard drive. And it's, got all of our data on it. I wonder if a high school would let us use their lathe in return for a talk. I will have to figure out and ask around. Hopefully we can get stuff working. I think that's the way of making it so. But yeah, so if you want to support the show, please go to patreon.com/transport evolved. We would really appreciate it if we can increase our Patreon membership by another $500 to $1,000 a month. It would make my life a lot less stressful, because YouTube has really started to ding us because of it's promoting shorts. It wants everybody to do short videos, and we can't do short videos properly at this way. So there we go. I used to drive a Nissan Leaf, but then I went, but because back then it was missing its speed limiter, but didn't go back to the Leaf. Sorry, I'll start again. I used to drive Nissan, but didn't go to the Leaf because back then it was missing its speed limiter, which I find important. There you go. Interesting. I think there is a speed limiter in the European models, but not on the North American models, which I used to find weird. Folks had been also asking if, thank you, by the way, for the new Patreon. If you just joined a Patreon, we've been inundated with really kind offers from people for CES. Hey, come stay with us. We'd love to put team up on the road, etc., etc. And while we would love to accept, there's a couple of reasons why we don't. The first one is we are a YouTube channel, we are a company, and we are a business. And the old adage of going and staying with people that you've never met online is kind of true. It's uncomfortable. It would be uncomfortable for everybody, least of all the hosts, because there'd be a team of 5 people with 2 cars and literally a metric butt ton, as somebody says. I say that a lot, and they like it. A metric butt ton of parts and camera gear and all of that other stuff. We're not a small crew, so take from that what you will. All right, so this last bit of B-roll. Good. GTS. Internal. Dashboard.mp4. There we go. And then we'll do that. So we've got lots of footage of the dashboard. Both Winter and Kate got dashboard footage, which I think is really good. I'm very pleased about that. So yeah, we would love to stay at people's houses, but the practicalities of doing that are kind of difficult when there's such a big team. And also, I'm not the most pleasant of people on a road trip because I'm tired all the time, and the team will tell you. I'm an introvert and I need downtime. And honestly, the thought of spending all day at CES and then coming home and then having to be civil with people is does not fill me with fun. I'm talking to you now, but I'm talking to you through the medium of the internet and through the computer. It's very different to sitting there and being in person. I'm amazed you can go 200 miles per hour downhill. What? I don't know. I don't know. Welcome to the Matrix. Yeah, I suppose the Matrix is going to be a good video to watch. I'm going to be watching that over Christmas. I think it comes out on Boxing Day or something. So I shall watch that. If I'm not working, I may actually be working on Christmas Day at this point. We've got so much work to do before CES. The rest of the team are taking Christmas off, but I'm probably going to end up having to work through it. Don't want you to feel sorry for me or anything, but it's just the way it is. I've got to get stuff done. I'm not working as much as I used to, so that's a good thing. All right, guys. Support us through Patreon, Bitcoin, and Ko-fi. Make a difference. Go and do go and buy some swag from our swag store. That would be really helpful. And if you can help us make up the fact that YouTube has stopped recommending our videos, that would be really good. Share our videos. Go through and promote what we're doing and make sure that other people get to see what we're doing, because frankly, it is scary that YouTube has basically stopped recommending our stuff. And I know this. I have several YouTube accounts that are all subscribed to Transport Evolved, and they're not showing up. It's not showing up in my streams. And I know other people have said the same thing. So we are contemplating doing a mailing list. So let me know if you would like us to do a mailing list, and then we'll literally mail you every time a video comes out. I think that might be a better way of doing it. Thanks for watching, everybody. And as always, keep evolving.